Torchlight will be after we do all this. Wand! Let's go! Stop the clock! Are there fireworks on the screen? Yay!
I was here. Grabs on the Grail.
58-22!
Nicolas Cabrera became a member. Nicolas Cabrera celebrates 10 months of membership. GG's llama, congrats piana e guacho.
Wow. Sub 60 hours. 58-22. There she is. That is, whoo. We're gonna go through all this because there is a lot to break down. There is a lot to break down. So let's do this. God, I'm like out of breath. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's turn off all of those really fast. That's crazy. Put that there, that here. Hey! Sega with the 10, Chris with the 5, Dooms with the Prime, Nicholas, thank you very much, 10 months, and Sola Riyama with 10 gifted subs. Mwah! And Neeb2 with the gifted 5 gifted subs. Oh. Like, it doesn't feel as good as finishing a Grail, but it still feels kind of good. It still feels nice. And it was actually really nice having Torch of Iroh as the last item, because we got to, like, really wind into it, you know? Like, you know that you're going to get there. It was a smooth finish. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, let's review this. Let's do a whole review. What's up, YouTube? Mr. Lamessy here, and we have just completed the Holy Grail with Terror Zone Andy fully set. Now, yes, I do consider changing the Terror Zone to always be Terror Zone Andy cheating, right? Like, I don't take this as a fully legit, like, oh, I did a Grail, whatever. Some people are fine with it. If you don't care about doing it, you go play. It's single player. Do whatever you want, right? Like, nobody cares. But I wanted to see how fast could I start a character and finish a Grail if I just had Terror Zone Andy. Terrorized. Basically, I could also farm elsewhere. Obviously, I would have to for like the cows and stuff, but just for that. So let's dive in. We'll talk about the character. We'll talk about all the stuff, and I'll give my thoughts on all of it. Right? So I obviously just have all the mules where I kind of put stuff on, but our main character here is this sorceress. Nice and simple. Let me get rid of items remaining there. Let me get rid of the run counter there. So this is our character. We have a level 93 sorceress. Skill-wise, a lot of extra points, 15 extra points over in Hydra that were unnecessary. Barely used Hydra, used it a tiny bit, I guess, for Ubers, a little it helped. But otherwise, really just a fireball, meteor, fire mastery, just kind of this line right here, right? And then 1-pointers for the 1-pointers. Pretty nice and simple right there. Stats, tons of strength. I had so much strength. And then I ran out because I ran out of respecs. And so there was all... My character is not optimized, which I think is the craziest part. This time that I have, 58 hours, 22 minutes, and 47 seconds, was the total time that it took to complete this Grail. And that is from level 1 with no gear, no anything, leveling up through the game, fighting all the bosses, farming the keys, doing Ubers on the sorceress, running the cows, getting the Annie once I get an SOJ to sell the SOJ, getting to level 91. So Terrazone Andy actually starts being really good. So Terrazone Andy was not a majority of this run, right? It was a majority, but of the 58 hours, I really didn't start getting there and farming her really well until 20 hours something, when I was level 91 and really hitting her and getting a lot. I did farm her a little bit before that for a Shaco and some of the basics, but really, I wasn't getting into the nice items until the 20 plus hours, which is crazy. Additionally, my damage is not that good and that high. I'll show you a few different setups that I used, but you can see I'm dealing 9 to 10k damage here. And I'll show you, this is the gear I had on for the normal setup when I was just farming normal at the very end for Torch of Iroh, but I'll show you kind of my main gear setup beyond it. So I have an Ashudas. I ran out of socket quest. So this is what we have, right? A 318, not bad, but there's no socket in here for a facet or an Istrun or anything. One of my sockets I used in the Shaco because I had it really early. So we put the topaz there. I have the 3-piece Tal's. It took me a long time to actually find Tal's amulet. So that was kind of annoying to get the 3-piece Tal's going. I couldn't really get it going for a while. Spirit shield. We had a ward spirit that we used for a while because I couldn't find a monarch. So that's why I have this extra strength, because I was using that for a bit. And then eventually we swapped out. Mage Fist, obviously, for the +1 fire skills to go with the FCR. Dual perfect Nagels. We found tons of Nagels throughout this run. And then Treks. I have a pair of Eth Treks on because they rolled 45s. But I do have some 44s over here. These also took a long time to find. This was one of my final 10 items or something like that. Very annoying. Charms, really just a bunch of random MF and some life. There's a little small charm with some, resistances in life. So basically just kind of whatever I could get. But you can see my charm inventory is not optimized. I have 0 fire skillers. I have 0 7MF small charms, I think. Yeah, I have a couple 6s. So I'm missing a lot here. I also have a barb torch because I didn't get a source torch. And obviously I didn't have time to keep farming up for all of that. We did get a nice Annie though with the 19, 15, 10. We didn't get this till level 90 or something, which is a little annoying. I wish I could have had it earlier, but whatever. So we did get the Annie and the torch. But if this had been 3 to source skills, that would have done a lot for our damage and been super helpful. Because one of the things I was finding was my runs on average were about 25, then 24, 23, 22, 21 seconds. That was kind of like as I progressed a little bit more and got slightly better gear and stuff for Hell and Andariel. But if I had just a few more skills, 3 more skills here, you know, a facet in this, a facet or you know, in here, maybe if I even a couple fire skiller grand charms, like I could have been killing her 15 seconds or less per run, which would have been really nice. So that's my gear there. And then on swap, I had a dual-isted Alibaba and Milibregas. I never actually got a rhyme here. I should have had a rhyme, but we just had Milibregas. So this, of course, was just for the added magic find, right? So basically every time I kill Andariel, when she got really low on health, I swap my weapon, go for the final kill here, and get that extra 150 MF boost. Alternatives that I had a flickering flame. I didn't really use it much. It did roll really bad with only -10. And I just didn't love sacking, you know, all of the survivability and magic find from Shaco for just a tiny bit more kill speed. It just wasn't feeling worth it. Additionally, I had Enigma. This is actually the setup that I was using. And Mara's. So I had a perfect Mara's that I found. I found tons of Mara's. I made Enigma. Again, all of this found from Andariel. And then Arachnid Mesh. So this was kind of my main, which was 11 to 12k damage right there. So a little bit better. And then I also had dual SOJs. If I wanted to go up to like 12 to 13k, I could put 1 or 2 of the SOJs on for a little extra damage. So just kind of some variety right there. So with this setup, that put me at 530% MF, which I thought was a pretty good number. And then I liked the kill speed that I had with this setup right here. So kind of swap there. I had some 40 chances that I found. Here's just a bunch of Lego racks. I had tons of facets all over the place. I never got to socket any of them, but you know, it would have been nice to put this in my shooters or something. You know, lower resist one for early on. All sorts of things, right? The fire sunder, the cold sunder, because I was a cold source first and then respec over to fire later. At one point, I was using the entire towel set. So I just ran full towels because it's actually nice. You get -15 enemy fire res for a little boost there. -15% enemy light res, which helps your static a little bit. You get the extra magic find, the extra sorceress skills, the extra life. Like, this is actually a really solid set to have. And you can see, you know, my damage is okay with it. But it was like good, but not the greatest. So eventually, you know, swapping out of that, getting like Enigma for the magic find and everything was really helpful. But this didn't come until later. The socket quests were spent on the Shaco, the ward shield for the spirit, because that, like I said, I just couldn't find a monarch for the longest time. And then a spirit sword during the leveling up. I believe those were the 3 of them that I had spent. Let's go into the gear found. So like I said, I found a Job Burr, Ohm Vex, the other Vex that we have in the Flickering Flame, and then the pole there, another pole, Goal, Mal, and then 2 Mals to cube into an Ist right here, and then I guess another Mal right here. So rune-wise, not bad, honestly. We averaged about 1 high rune per 1,000 Andariel runs, which ended up being, you know, pretty decent. And again, getting Burr, Jaw, Burr, Vex, Ohm, like really nice ones. Could have made a CTA, but CTA was just kind of a time waste. I didn't need to do all of that. My mercenaries' main gear was Treachery, Kira's, and Reaper's Toll. This insight was just for normal there. Because having the Decrepify on Andariel was really helpful just to slow her down so I wasn't dying as much. And then obviously this helped him survive, and Treachery was nice for the attack speed to get more of the hits off with Reaper's Toll to hopefully cast Decrepify. We found 2 Tyrael's mites. Literally, you guys probably saw that video. If you didn't already, go watch it. Within 10 minutes or 12 minutes of each other, including the celebration time, 2 Tyrael's mites. Absolutely insane. Skillers were basically nothing. I found a cold skiller, a passive and magic skiller, and maybe one more. That is all. So skillers were really rough. We found a couple decent small charms. The 5, 3, 13. I found a 2, 17, 18. You know, a couple of nice small charms in there, but nothing even super godly charm wise. Let's take a look though at the gear. Really, we'll go to the widescreen here. So this is the Holy Grail counter exclamation mark tracker. If you want it yourself, I'll put a link to it down below. Basically what's really nice is it can go in and read your save file. And so whenever a new item drops and you pick it up and identify it, or you leave the game, it makes a ding sound if you have found it, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with if you have kept up with this Grail. So I did not pick up every item that I dropped. There were probably 10 Shakos that I did not pick up. There were 5 arachnid meshes at least that I left on the ground. There were tons of Grizz Coronas and lots of things I didn't pick up. The things I did pick up, with the exception of 1 steel pillar I remember leaving on the ground, were the TC-87s. So those are the ones that you'll really see a lot of the times X on. Otherwise, know that there were just a lot of duplicates on many of these items. But you can see, why does this only say 1 Tyrael's mite? That's very strange. Oh, because they're both in the shared stash. Interesting. So it's only counting it once. Okay, well, that's interesting to note. So we had 2 Tyraels, 3 Templars, 13 Ormus, including a 14% fireball and a 15% lightning. I didn't pick up a bunch of Leviathans and Arcane's Valors and Gladiator Banes, but we found tons of those. I have 6 Shakos that I did pick up, 3 Veils of Steel and a Nightwing, so we found 4 unique Spired Helms right there. Only 1 COA, but it was a very good COA. 2 open sockets, 1428, 14 DR 28 all res. We found 4 pairs of Steel Wrens. Again, there's like tons of these. I just stopped picking up Dungos and Arachnid Mesh. 4 Shadow Dancers. And then we did find multiple of the shields, but we're looking at TC-87s mostly. 4 Death Cleavers, 3 Executioners Justice, 2 Wind Force, 4 Ghost Flames, 2 Schaefer's Hammers, and a couple Stone Crushers as well. 2 Cranium Bashers, 4 Storm Spires. I found like 12 Tomb Reavers or something, or like 15, tons of those. 2 Astrians, which is one of the second rarest item in the game, behind Tyrael's. 5 Mang Song's Lessons. 5 Mang Song's Lessons. 4 Grandfathers. 1 Death Web, which again was our third to last item. We also found 3 Griffins. All terrible, by the way. A 1510, a 1511, and a 1612. Awful. 5 SOJs, 2 Bull Cathos. I threw away a bunch of Wisp, but I think I found like 5 or 6 Wisp on this. After the 5th Maras, I stopped collecting those as well. I probably found 10 Maras at least. 3 metal grids, pretty wild. Thank you, Karuma. Thank you, Merle. Obviously, these. Our facet count, look how hilarious this is. This cold death facet took forever to find. We found 10 cold levels, 10 fire levels, 12 lightning levels, and 5 poison levels, 6 fire deaths, 8 lightning deaths, 7 poison deaths, and 1 cold death that we found at the very end. Tons of facets. That was wild. 3 halberd rains, even more demon horns edges. Dragon scale took a while. We found a few houses and 2 death fathoms. And the dark forest spawn there. So honestly, a lot of the TC87s we found at least one of, if not many. Again, 2 Astrians, 5 Mang songs, 2 Tyraels, like 3 Griffins, 2 Windforce, 2 Schaefers. I mean, those aren't TC87, but close. Just absolutely crazy. Then obviously all the sets. I didn't pick up a lot of all the sets. Trangal's Wing, the final set item on this Grail, though. So a lot. I love that. That's so cute. A lot of just GG stuff found there. I also found a sick FCR ring. I wasn't picking up all the rares. Eventually I stopped picking them up. Just because I was like, I got to find all these sets and uniques. But I did find a lot of sweet rings, including this one. Probably worth about 10 to 20 jaw. 10 FCR, 94 AR, 17 strength, 10 all res, and 40 light res. It's kind of a baller ring right there. So a couple sweet rares. There were a couple other sweet rares of other things I found as well. But, that was kind of the main piece. I say it was mostly focused on uniques and sets. So what are my thoughts on all of this? 58 hours, 22 minutes, and 47 seconds, including time spent leveling, time spent farming keys, time spent running the Ubers. That took me like 3 to 4 hours to do the Ubers because it was just so rough on the sorceress. Time spent leveling up to get to level 91, where Terrazone Andy is actually dropping a lot of the TC87s and that, and they're dropping well and stuff. Probably 20 something hours, right? For all of the prep build up. Plus, that's like the first half. The second half, again, my character wasn't optimized. It took some time to kill Andariel. It took 23, 24, 25 seconds to get there and kill her, because I would have to take many fireballs, and if mobs got in the way, I'd have to teleport around. If she had Mite Aura, she would one-shot my mercenary. It was rough. It was kind of difficult. And we still finished the entire Grail in 58 hours, 22 minutes, and 47 seconds, including 5 Mang songs, 2 Tyraels, 2 Astrians, 2 Windforce, 3 Griffins, 3 Halberds, right? Like, including all of these things. It's wild. The point of this Grail was to say Terrazone Andy is broken, and I think this is great proof that she is broken. It's just too much. Plain simple. And yes, I packed all of them in, but again, if I had a fully optimized character, I'm running, almost twice as fast if I have my character fully stacked with all the proper gear and the source torch and all that stuff. And then, Terrazone Andy is happening 5 times a week, 6 times a week. Maybe you're only awake for 3 or 4 of them, for me, let's say. But basically within a month, if I just, did an hour a day when Terrazone Andy gets on, I could complete an entire Grail and get more. I mean, every day was insane. I would do 4 hours in a day, 5 hours in a day, and I would have 2 Mang songs and Astrians, 2 Grizz caddies, 3 Executioner's Justices, a Grandfather, a Wind Force, 5 Shakos, 2 Arachnid Meshes, 3 Maras, an SOJ. I mean, I found 3 SOJs in one day. I found 2 Mangs in a day and an Astrians, 2 Mangs in another day. I found, you know, it was just like so good. So very strong, you know? So even if I was only doing an hour of Andy 3 times a week or 4 times a week, right? 4 hours once here and 4 hours broken up over the week is the same exact thing. It's the same amount of time. That would be way too much over 4 hours there, right? That would just be absolutely crazy. So yeah, I just feel like I feel very validated in banning Terrazone Andy from my ethereal grail that I'm doing, because she just wipes the floor with everything else. Absolutely wipes the floor with it. Yeah, I mean, you find a new sweet TC87 once every 15 minutes or less. Like, it's so good. Nothing, all the crazy rare drops just get completely wiped, and they're too good. So that's kind of the recap. Pretty crazy. I mean, sub 60 hours. My first thought was I can do this in 50 hours, but that was assuming that I started with a character that was maxed out. I now think that is even faster. If I had a maxed out character, I think I could do this in sub 40 hours. 100%. You take away all that farm time. I mean, even less probably. 30 hours, I could probably have all this done. 35. My second time was about 65 hours, and the last one I said would be about 75 hours. I think I could have it done from start to finish. And we ended at 58. So we still crushed that. Like, we crushed 75 hours. I crushed my 65-hour goal. Obviously, I got the Tyraels early, but in the end, I found 5 unique Sacred Armors. You know, like, you definitely have a chance to get a Tyraels within 5. It's not guaranteed. There are people who have gone like 15 and not found it yet, but, you know, it's crazy. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do in the future we'll do it again, but with a fully stacked character who's just blowing through, and see how crazy she is. See if we can break that like 30 hour or something. It'd be wild. But anyways, that was the Terrazone Andy Holy Grail from 1 to 0% to 100%, level 1 to 93. And it's all done. GG. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.